like my family thought it was nuts because I would go and I would turn off all the lights and I would light candles and lanterns.
Generally speaking, it's the single best thing we can do for just feeling better physically. What is up, everybody? And welcome back to the Schooling Struggle Podcast. It is our belief that the only guarantee in life is that we are all going to struggle. And how we choose to embrace our struggles is what empowers us to become the best versions of ourselves. My name is Pete, coming to you from Vermont. And with me is my co-host and friend, Todd, coming to you from Washington State. What's up, Todd?
Hey, Peter. How's it going?
Oh, man. I am overwhelmed right now. I'm trying to get my life from, as I've said in the past, from overwhelmed just to whelmed. And I'm whelmed with a bunch of stuff that I've purposely taken on, some really cool passion projects, aside from the podcast here that I'm really excited about. But I'm just a little overwhelmed by how I'm going to choose to navigate it all and where's the best use of my time and energy. And I think when I take on a bunch of really cool things and I'm not feeling efficient in certain places, it makes me feel like I'm not efficient in any of them or effective. I think there's a better measure of that. Yeah. So to be straight with you, a little overwhelmed, but I'm navigating that as best I can. And actually these conversations are a great place for me to just kind of take a deep breath, chill, be present, be intentional, and enjoy the conversation. So this has a more of a profound positive impact on me than you know. So thank you for setting this up.
Look at you leading with the gratitude. Yeah. I feel.
How about you? You?
In many ways, I feel. I don't know about many ways, but on that topic, yes, I feel a little bit of that myself. I always kind of operate in that arena, but I do all right. I drove for 10 hours the last 2 days. Spokane and back, went for a run there, was humbled by running in a pack where I thought I would run a little bit faster, but there was 20,000 people around me, so I didn't get to run as fast as I wanted. But I had a good time. It was fun. So yeah, I'll go back next year and crush it.
Sorry about that. I should have told you to start in the front. I'll tell you that next time.
I was in this. Well, if it was the Kenyans and then me, I don't know how well that would have went because I would have ran to chase them like the greyhound and the rabbit. But I don't know. It was a good time. Yep.
It's funny that we're both kind of in this season of feeling a little bit overwhelmed or kind of have a lot going on in our life right now, because the topic that I chose a while back for tonight's conversation is that of sleep. And I think this has a direct correlation or direct relation to kind of what we have going on in our lives. So we didn't actually set this up to be logged on and feeling overwhelmed at the same time, but it is a kind of a cool segue into tonight's topic. I'm in the thick of the sleep unit with my students right now. So throughout the course of the semester, we focus on what I call the 5 pillars of health, which are exercise, nutrition, mindset, connections, and sleep. And at the end of every semester, I interview each student for 10 minutes and talk to them about how their semester went and things that were positively impactful for them over the course of the semester. And I think the thing that students seem to report that they got the most from the class, or that the most effective takeaway they had at the end of the semester, was the information they learned about sleep. So I'm going to see if we can pack an entire 4 weeks worth of sleep conversations into the podcast tonight.
Why not?
Yeah. So
teach, because I suck at sleep.
That, moderation is for cowards. So we're just going to go all in now on this.
All right.
Yeah. I'll preface this with 2 things. One is that I am not a master sleeper, and I'm struggling to get high quality, effective, restorative sleep on a regular basis. And the second is, before we go into the conversation, I would just like to acknowledge the fact that every person has a different environment in their life. Every person has a different set of circumstances in their life. And some of the things that we talk about tonight are things that I'm aware that some people just won't be able to access or might not be possible. Anyone that's had a newborn in their house can attest to the fact that it is difficult to get a high quality, good night of sleep when there's a newborn in the house.
It's near impossible.
And there are many other circumstances that are present in people's lives at night or when it is that they're trying to sleep. So I just wanted to acknowledge that I don't think that this is a perfect panacea for a sleeping setup for any human being that's going to listen to this, but just to acknowledge that generally speaking, there are some things that might be within our control that we can put into practice to try to get better sleep.
I like it. It's a good topic.
All right. You good?
Yeah. Where are we going?
You're writing feverishly. I love
No,
that.
I was coloring actually. There's all the Z's. I made all the Z's because I was thinking about sleep.
Z's. So we can get super into the weeds and sciencey on this, but I'm going to try to avoid doing that. I've learned quite a bit over the last bunch of years as I've been fascinated by this topic and sharing it with my students. But I'm going to try to keep it all in layman's terms as best I can. We'll kind of go from there.
Okay.
So I first became fascinated by sleep when I started to dive into like what yields a high level of human performance. And I came to learn that many of the top fitness coaches in the world won't even work with an athlete if the athlete is not willing to prioritize or commit to 8 to 10 hours of sleep a night. And that kind of spoke volumes to me. I was like, whoa, like the best people, the best coaches in the fitness world are really prioritizing sleep in a way that I didn't realize. So then I started to look into, well, why? And basically the way I explain it to high schoolers is your cell phone can only work for so long until you have to plug it in. It doesn't matter what screensaver mode you use, how much you bring down the brightness on your screen, energy saving mode, all that. Eventually, you're going to need to plug your phone in. That's the only way that your phone is going to continue to operate. And then if you get a full charge, it's optimizing. Well, the human body works the same way. Our sleep is the plugging in of the cell phone. And it doesn't matter how much caffeine we drink or these different other products or tactics that we can use to try to avoid getting sleep but still perform at a high level. Eventually, we're going to need to lean on a good night of sleep. Basically, sleep services all aspects of our body in one way or another, whether that's molecular, with our balance of energy, intentional function, alertness, mood. All these different types of things are really impacted by sleep, and loss of sleep really impairs your ability to reason, to problem solve, all these like mental functions that we do with our body. And it's important to note that sleep affects pretty much every like tissue in our body. It affects the growth of different like hormones and the immune system and our appetite and our breathing and our blood pressure and our cardiovascular health and all these things. So getting a good night of sleep is super important. And I actually pulled up a Google list for the top reasons why getting a good night of sleep is beneficial. So very quickly, I'm just going to kind of run through it, but sleep boosts your immune system. So people who get high quality sleep get sick less often. Getting sleep can help prevent weight gain. Getting sleep can strengthen your heart. And we know that if you don't die of some sort of accident or cancer, the majority of people die from some heart-related loss of function. So the sleep and the heart are very closely related. And the more I'm learning about sleep, the more I'm realizing how profound it is for heart health. We don't need a scientist to tell us that better sleep equals a better mood. And when your mood is better, you function better in your relationships, and your relationships become less conflicted or less combative. Sleeping increases productivity of the mind and of the body. So if we want to optimize or crush our day, that's really important. Lack of sleep can be dangerous, obviously, driving cars, those types of things when you're at a sleep deprived state. Sleep can increase exercise performance, which is kind of where the road that I went down when I first started learning about it. And sleep improves your memory. The thing that I think is the most important that I share with my students, because it's most relevant to them in their lives as of now, but if you just don't feel great, you don't feel like you're energized, you don't feel like you're functioning, a lot of that can be attributed to lack of sleep. There's many other factors, obviously, nutrition, stress, all those types of things. But I think just generally speaking, it's the single best thing we can do for just feeling better physically. Staying committed to sleep and hydrated are kind of the two go-tos. If someone says to me there's kind of down in energy or they're down in their mood, the first two questions I'll ask is, well, how's your sleep and how's your hydration? And we can talk about hydration on another episode, but those are kind of the main reasons why sleep is so important, because it has really profound short-term effects like the next day. But over time, it also has incredibly powerful implications for our health and our functionality as we go. I feel like this could be an episode where I do a ton of talking, and I don't love that. So I encourage and ask you to chime in whenever and however you want.
Understood.
The science of this is really fascinating, the different ways that they do sleep studies. And they found out back in the day, and I don't even want to try and quote the date or even the decade or maybe even the century of when this went down. But when they started doing sleep deprivation studies, they found that they really messed some people up. And it was a really moral, ethical question of, should we be depriving people of sleep for the sake of certain studies? And it was kind of decided that crazy sleep deprivation studies where they're depriving people of sleep for days is a really, really unethical, unhealthy thing to do. So from what I've learned is there aren't a whole lot of sleep deprivation studies done anymore. It's more of like high quality sleep.
I wish I could get more high quality sleep. So
Oh, me too.
I'm the
Me
astute
too.
pupil because
Yeah.
like I'm waiting for my doctor to finally give me a referral for a sleep study, which was supposed to be 2 weeks ago. So now I have to check back on that.
Mm,
But yeah, like my numbers, I'm fortunate enough to track my sleep with this wrist device I have, and it's all over the place. And like if I get like a 70 like out of 100, I'm elated, and then the next day I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep this up, and then it'll be like 17, and I'm like, come on, like, and I try to be ritualistic, and I try to like do the things that I've heard and I've read about, but I think it's a lock with many keys. I don't know how that one.
yeah.
It's interesting.
So, so for the listeners out there, Todd has learned that I'm kind of a sleep geek. Not that I get a ton of it, but that I'm learning about it. And he'll send me screenshots of his wrist device that says that he got a 17 out of 100 or a 70 out of 100. My question for you is, what does that mean? Does 100 mean like what is the most optimal sleep you could have gotten that night? And the number is a fraction of that. Is that what it is?
Well, I don't. There's many algorithms that occur on this device, but from my understanding, reading all of this, all of the of the product technical, manual, it bases it on multiple things, and multiple things play into it. So I think it's like for example, I run a lot and I run too much. Right. And so they're like, hey, your high aerobic threshold is off the chart. You might want to slow down. And then they give you suggestions like go to more anaerobic, go to, more low level aerobic activities. And those, if you have a good balance of where those are, then
Yeah.
your performance will be better. Potentially your sleep might result.
Okay.
But on the other
Yeah.
side of that is if you're already working at a deficit, it realizes that. And it says, if you go running today, that's going to affect your sleep for the next 6 days. And so how long is it
Okay.
going to take you to recharge? So things like that. And then
Yeah.
obviously resting heart rate and all that stress and stuff. But yeah.
So it takes the metrics that it measures and puts
Mhm.
them together to give you. So it takes into your resting heart rate, your
Yeah.
activity levels, your
Yep.
your stress. Yeah, okay, and then it converts it for you. I have the Whoop strap, and it pretty much does the same thing. It
Yeah.
takes your strain from the day before and your resting heart rate, all these different variables, and puts them together.
Yeah.
And yeah, my the numbers are different in mine, but it'll tell you like, oh, in order to get adequate, your optimal sleep, you need 9 hours and 39 minutes tonight,
Oh,
or
yeah, I don't have that.
in the morning you'll find out kind of what percentage of that you hit, and it also breaks down into the four the 4 stages of sleep,
Yeah.
which we can talk about a little bit. But yeah, so basically the way sleep works, from what I've learned, and again, I'm going to try to keep this on the surface, is that we go through what are called sleep cycles, or the stages of sleep over the course of the night. And I've seen a couple different variations of the way that this is listed, but basically we go from awake to light sleep, and then we go from there to either R.E.M. or deep sleep, or vice versa. And R.E.M. stands for rapid eye movement, and that is a stage of sleep where you're dreaming, you're actively dreaming. And then your deep sleep is kind of when you're just absolutely out cold, or dead, dead to the wind. And we cycle through those. If we were to have a great night of 8 hours of sleep, we'd cycle through all 4 of those approximately 4 to 5 times. So you're not just like in this awake space, and then you're in light for 3 hours, and then you're in deep for 2 hours, and then you're R.E.M. for 2 hours. You go from light to deep to R.E.M. to awake, back to light, back to R.E.M., back to deep, and you kind of cycle through multiple times. And each of those stages provides a different type of restorative recovery for your body, both of your mind and your body. So what you're getting from recovery in light sleep might be a little bit different from what you're getting in deep sleep, from what you're getting in R.E.M. And we need to be in each of those stages over the course of the night to get our full amount of recovery, so we can have the best restoration we have, so we can be optimizing the next day of the mind and the body. Any questions about that, Todd?
No, I understand that. But I think going back to kind of like what I was talking about with the algorithm and the device, it's so interesting for me to think that there are so many other hooks that you don't really think about, that like I come across all the time. Like, oh, don't eat X amount of food after X amount of time if like 2 hours before you sleep, or make sure, you turn off all the lights, or make sure, you're like setting yourself up for that kind of, for your body to understand that you're getting ready to go to sleep. And I think
Yes.
when I think about all the tactical things, and you might have a different idea for this or how you want to plug it in, but I think that it's important to know that there are a certain amount of things. I remember you talking about, you had actually I met somebody that has a night mask, and I was asking them if they were hooked on it like you were. And they were like, that's funny, because if I go somewhere and I don't have it, I get a little freaked out. But it's like, but your mind becomes like normalize that, right? It's like, oh, I got the sleep mask, must be time for bed. And so I think, like, as you were talking, I was thinking about all the different things. Like for me, I interrupt those sleep cycles because I always have to get up and pee at night. But if I could just put down the water 4 hours before I went to bed, I wouldn't have this problem. But for some reason, I don't do that, and then it's, if you drink alcohol, that's going to affect it. There's so many habits and temperature and timing, like all those things are very, you can be very intentional about those to get a better night's sleep. And it's hard, but
yeah, I think the thing to remember is like sleep is actually a system that works in our body. And it's not just this like separate thing. It's like, all of our systems of our body work together, but the sleep system is very, very incredibly intricate in many, many ways, and impacts our body in every area of our body, which is really fascinating for me. So those things that you just named, I'm going to bring the conversation now into 10 tips.
Good.
I tell my students, these are 10 things that we can be aware of, so that if we so choose to intentionally put them into action, or at least try to put them into action, if you don't have an infant in your house, they're a really good place to start when thinking about better sleep. You good
Number
there?
one. Yeah, go.
Okay. So I'm actually going to go number 1 to number 10. So number 1's the most important.
Okay.
So that people decide to turn this thing off, at least they get the most important stuff early.
Nice.
So number 1, it's important to treat sleep like you would any kind of medication that's going to keep your body alive. So we want to prioritize sleep in the same way that we would a medicine that we rely on to live. So we want to prioritize those 8 hours, and the statistics show as we get older, the demands of our sleep aren't as much. So a newborn needs 14 to 17 hours. A 2 to 3-year-old needs 11 to 14 hours. My daughter, who's 6 right now, is in the 10 to 11 hour stage, and so on and so forth. Once you get to be 18, it's 8 to 10 hours is what the science is showing. And once you're over 25, it's 7 to 9 hours. And it stays that way pretty much for the rest of our life. So that's kind of the goal. So when I say treat sleep like medicine, wherever you are, whatever age you're in, you want to treat that amount of time and commit that amount of time to being in bed. So my wife and I've committed that my daughter is going to be in bed at 7:30 every night, and she usually sleeps till 6:30 the next day. So 11 hours for her is kind of right on the button right now. So treat sleep like you would medication that's going to keep you alive, and really covet those 8 hours that you're in bed. Now, what I've come to learn is that I don't sleep for those entire 8 hours that I'm in bed, but I will commit to those 8 hours in bed. I've actually learned through my Whoop that I sleep an hour and a half less than the time that I'm usually in bed. So if I'm in bed for 8 hours, it's 6.5 for me. So if I can get in bed for 9, that kind of puts me in a decent shape. So treat sleep like it's medication. Number 2, pre-bedtime routine is everything. I call it landing the plane, right? Going to bed at the same time and getting up at the same time, preferably with an 8-hour window in between those two times, is the single best thing we can do. I get up at 4:30 during the week. I have zero interest in getting up at 4:30 on Saturday and Sunday. I sleep until like 5:30 or 6, and maybe even later if I can. So you really want to prioritize going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time. And it shows that even if you get less sleep doing that, your body can count on those times and you get better, more effective, and more efficient sleep. So the goal here is not just more sleep, but it's also more effective sleep, more time in that deep stage and that R.E.M. stage. And these tactics that we're going to talk about get us there as well. Going to bed at the same time, getting up at the same time with an 8-hour window in between the two. And in a perfect world, you do that 365 days a year. Doesn't matter if you're on vacation, doesn't matter if you're working or not. You go to bed at the same time, get up at the same time. Number 3, blue light. Blue light is light that is emitted from screens from devices, computers, phones, laptops, TVs. That blue light is different from the natural light that comes in through the window through the sun. And basically, from what I've learned about this, what I think is accurate, is that blue light is taken in by your eyes, and your eyes tell your brain that you're not tired, when in actuality, your body can be exhausted and you're craving sleep, but your brain doesn't recognize it because the blue light has tricked it. Anyone who's done a all-night video game binge or a Netflix 19 episodes in a row and doesn't even feel the least bit tired and looks up at the clock and it's 4 a.m, that's an example of the blue light telling your brain you're not tired.
Caffeine for the eyes.
Hey, do you have blue light glasses?
Yeah, I have 4 sets.
I've heard all different types of reviews on those. Why do you have them, and are they effective?
I got them because I wanted to see if they would help my sleep, because I stare at a computer all day long, and I figured I'm bombarding myself all day anyway, so I might as well protect myself.
So backing up for a second, what do the companies claim that the blue light glasses do?
I think the claim is that it allows you to still do the things that you're doing without having that repercussion, like you just said. So
Okay,
I can still look at the screen, but I'm not going to get bombarded with these rays, and eventually I will get tired.
So it puts like a barrier in between.
Yeah, when you put them on, they're kind of yellowish. Like you can definitely tell there's a tint, and I think the idea is it blocks out that spectrum.
I mean to ask you about that for a while, because you mentioned it one time before, and I haven't talked to anyone who's committed to them, so I was just curious to know what your review.
The second interesting part is I'm not consistent with it. So like I try to like put them on at 7. Like I've done so many different things. Like like my family thought it was nuts, because I would go and I would turn off all the lights, and I would like candles and lanterns, and I'm like, it's time to get ready for bed, and they're like, look, man, I can't see anything. And even now, like I'll go in the bathroom and I will brush my teeth in the dark. And my wife is like, I guess I'll just wait till you're done, because I can't brush my teeth in the dark. I'm like, well, so all that to say, you still have to be consistent with the things you hope that are tools, but
you don't have a choice. You have to stay on the podcast. You can't log off like all the listeners, but you'll be excited for number 10. So stay tuned.
Okay, good.
So what I like to tell my students and myself is that the more time you can put in between when you last look at a device or a screen and when you lay your head for bed, the better. Mm-hmm. So I'll say that again. The more time you can put in between when you last look at a screen and when you go to bed, the better. I've heard all different statistics on this. I've heard 30 minutes. I've heard 3 hours. So I don't know exactly what the latest science is saying about that, other than blue light definitely inhibits your sleep. And if you can lay low on screen time before bed, it seems to be that you can get more effective sleep.
So the longer the better is what I heard.
Yeah. Which brings me to the next point, which is the darker the room, the more effective and efficient sleep you're going to get. I am also committed to the old face mask. Instead of spending hundreds of dollars on room darkening shades and putting duct tape over the light on your smoke alarm and not having an alarm clock, I love the $6 face mask from Amazon. It just goes over my eyes and makes it. Sometimes my wife will read herself to sleep or wake up in the middle of the night when she can't sleep. She reads to fall back asleep, and she uses a headlamp. So my mask is just. It's just amazing.
What a great partner. We'll get
everything black for me all night. Oh, nice. It's so good. It's so good. I once heard that any light in the room, whether it's recognized by your eyes or not, disrupts your sleep.
Yeah, I've heard
so
that.
There was a study done where they put a bunch of people. I don't know the exact how the study was run. I couldn't tell you exactly every variable of what they ran, but basically they did a study where they had a bunch of people come in and sleep, and they took a blue light and put it against the back of their kneecap. So they couldn't see it with their eyes. Their eyes couldn't pick it up. It was under the blankets, shining against the back of their kneecap. And when they had a blue light up against their kneecap, they slept significantly worse, or their sleep was significantly less effective than it was when there wasn't this tiny little light in the back of their kneecap.
Did they tell them they were going to light up their knees?
Again, I can't tell you every nuance. Maybe I should have prepped it a little bit more if I brought it up.
No, I'll find out. But
I've heard it a number of times. And I just think that that's fascinating. So like I went out and blocked out everything. So not only do I have the face mask, but we have no lights in our room whatsoever.
Unless Jen's nuking your knees with blue light all night long.
Like, that's why I haven't been getting good sleep the last 12 years.
You dirty dog. That's funny.
You mentioned about temperature. And yes, ideal sleeping temperature for humans is 60 to 67 degrees. So we keep our room really chilly and with some heavy blankets on top. If you are wealthy enough to purchase a mattress cover that regulates the temperature of your body while you're sleeping or regulates your sleeping environment, have at it. It's not in my wheelhouse of affordability. Maybe sometime this podcast will blow up and we'll get sponsors and we can get a mattress cover that's going to keep us at 60 to 67 degrees.
This episode brought to you by Cool Sleep.
Next one is food. So any food that you eat that makes you feel like crap after you eat a bunch of it, that's a good sign that you don't want to eat that before bed. From what I've read, 2 to 3 hours before bed without any food will help your digestive system clear. From what I understand, the digestive system and the sleep system don't coincide super well together. One impacts the other. And when your body is in a high digestive functioning space, it really inhibits sleep. So if you need to eat before bed, from what I've read, light foods such as light fruits and things like that can be much better than like a heavy deep fried meal or McDonald's.
Yeah, I've even heard
happy
avoid
meal or
things
something.
that are white, any starches, anything like that before. Like that's never do that. Like that's most word. I mean, it's probably because it's dense, like nutrient dense.
Yep. Yeah. So it sounds to me like some stuff that isn't, what am I trying to say? Some nutritiously dense foods like a couple almonds or different types of nuts or maybe some blueberries or raspberries, those types of things that won't really crush your entire digestive system.
Yeah.
The balance for me is I can't sleep if I'm hungry. So I'm often better sometimes having a snack before I go to sleep so that I can stay satiated throughout the night. Because if I wake up hungry, I have to go downstairs, and then it ends up being spoonfuls of peanut butter right to the dome.
Interesting.
Yeah. All right. Number 7 is, so I'm going to keep this G-rated. This is a family podcast, so just keep that in mind.
Interesting.
Your bed is a spot that's only for sleeping, so it's not a workspace. And anything that you do that is, especially on the computer, I'd compartmentalize and have a workspace that's not the place where your bed is or where you do your sleeping. That way, when you get in bed, your brain and your body know this space. What I do here is I sleep. So I get into this space and I go to sleep. It's not a space that do a bunch of work on my computer and then try to fall asleep. When you compartmentalize that way, your body and your brain can pick up on those signals, and it's easier to fall asleep in that regard. And if you've listened to a couple episodes back, I couldn't tell you which one. I talks about how I'm neurotic about compartmentalizing different areas of my life, and this one has been super helpful. Super helpful. Number 8. Those who exercise during the day tend to sleep better on a regular basis. So I'm not talking about like, it's not a one-to-one. It's not because I exercise today, I'm going to get better sleep tonight. It's over time, over a week, month, years. People who exercise on a regular basis tend to sleep better. Now, Todd and I seem to be anomalies of that. We exercise too much, as Todd said, and that doesn't always seem, but that could be part of my problem too. Well, actually, no, part of my problem is I get up too early to exercise. If I slept through those workouts and slept an extra 2 hours every night, I'd get much more sleep.
Oh, interesting. Timing is a big deal there for me. If I work out too late at night, I can't sleep.
Yeah, the endorphins are rocking and
rolling.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
Yeah.
Like it has to be hours.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. But again, that's totally individualized. I know people who just work out and they go right to sleep after. So
yeah, I wish.
Yeah, I'm not one of those.
Nope.
All right, this one I think is really kind of cool and super tactical for me because this definitely plays into my world. Number 9, if you wake up in the middle of the night, don't look at the clock. And I do that every time. I wake up in the middle of the night to pee once, twice, 4 times, and I always look at the clock. It's 1:48. I've only been sleeping for 4 hours, and now I'm not going to fall back asleep, and like my mind gets going. So just take your alarm clock and just turn it toward the wall so you can't see it when you're getting up in the middle of the night. But my mind gets racing about how much I've slept, how much I need to sleep, and how much time I have left between the time I woke up and when it's time for my alarm to go off. It just gets my mind racing, and that's unneeded. And for some reason, there's an addiction there that I have to look at the time when I wake up. And when I don't, I do so much better.
I have a projection clock, and it projects right over my face. And every time I wake up, I'm like, oh, just what you just said. Like,
after this conversation, it's not going to project.
I don't know, because I'll unplug it, and then my wife will be like, where's the clock? I'll be like, oh, okay. First it's lanterns and candles, and now it's taking the clock away. I can already see it.
All right, number 10.
Oh, here it is, the big reveal.
This is the big reveal. The 10th most important of the 10. Actually, no, this is really important. Is so the very second one, not the first one that I talked about, but the very second one, I talked about the pre-bedtime routine, and this is kind of it stems from that. And this is calming the mind and calming the body prior to getting in bed. So if you have a bunch of stuff going on and you're wired and you just jump in bed and you're like, you expect to just fall asleep, it's just not going to happen. And then it's like, well, how come I can't fall asleep? Why am I not falling asleep? Well, you just got an argument with someone, or you just had a bunch of blue light being thrust into your eyeballs, or your heart rate was going for whatever reason. You just watched an intense movie or something. So part of that pre-bedtime routine is really committing to calming the mind and calming the body. So if you're really crazy, you'll turn off all the lights, brush your teeth in the dark, and light a bunch of candles around your house. I've heard people do that, which I think is ludicrous, but that's one way to do it. But the goal really is to get your heart rate down and try to get your mind from spinning. And there's, many different, depending on the individual, there's many different ways to do that. Some people meditate. Some people take a hot bath or a hot shower. The studies show that back in the day, the old warm milk was a very common thing to help people kind of settle down and fall asleep. Sounds like culture's moved away from that, but chamomile tea with no caffeine can also play in that role. The interesting part about alcohol is that alcohol makes you sleepy, but really inhibits the deep and R.E.M stages of sleep. So you might fall asleep quicker, but from what I've read, you'll get a lot more in that light stage and get less in the R.E.M and the deep when you're drinking during the day or drinking before bed. So how can you de-stress your mind, de-stress your body, bring your heart rate down, and kind of calm yourself before you get in bed? That's the big one.
Yeah. There's some breathing techniques for that.
Yeah. Can you talk about that real quick? How you use that?
Yeah, I definitely can. On this wrist device I have, actually, I was amazed that they had breath work on there, because breath work's kind of taboo, or what it used to be taboo kind of in Western culture, but now it's gaining popularity. But
It's got to be effective if it gets you 17 out of 100 every night for your sleep score.
Yeah, it's really working for me. Of course, I don't always do it every night, because then my watch vibrates every time you switch focuses, and then my wife's right next to me. She's like, I'm like, okay, thanks. So I'm working on that. But basically, the best one that I found is what they call box breathing. I think it's yogic. I don't know, whatever yoga, whatever you call that, in its inception, but I don't know that for a fact. But basically, it's a timed measure of inhale, hold, exhale, hold, and you just keep 4 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4.
So a long 4-second inhale,
and
hold it for 4 seconds.
Correct.
And then exhale for 4 seconds.
Indeed.
And then hold it for 4 seconds.
Yep. And then
kind of like a box. Is that why they call it box breathing?
That's why they call it box breathing. And then you just keep on going until you fall asleep. I mean, sometimes it's like, oh wow, I don't remember falling asleep, and I was like on number 1. So.
Do you count to 4? Does you kind of know the time now? Like, do you have to?
I always count, just because my brain's always counting, but I think you would know. After a while, but it's just, I think it's the intention of doing it, right?
Huh.
Yeah, that works out pretty well.
So you've probably counted to 4 a lot of times in your life.
Yeah, sometimes 6, sometimes 7.
Whoa.
Yeah. There's upper realms, you could go, but.
Yeah, I know there's a million different breathing techniques and meditative techniques that one can use when it comes to breath work, but it seems like a good place to start is that box breathing.
Yeah. And if I wake up at night, go ahead.
I would say I've tried it. I haven't adopted it, so I'm not sitting here as a guru telling people how to box breathe, but it seems to me from a lot of stuff that I've read, the basic is that's the best place to start.
Yeah, for me, if I wake up at night and I'm not looking at the clock, if I just wake up and have all these racing thoughts, I focus. That's the first thing. I just go to that, and pretty much I can turn it around pretty quick. But
that's cool.
If I'm unable, my mind will just go. So,
a little bit of a different topic, but I've counted to 10 so many times lifting weights in sets of 10 that I think it would be really cool for me to learn how to count to 10 in 50 different languages. Huh. I'm going to do this set in Greek. I'm going to do this set in German. I'm going to do this set in Portuguese.
Wow.
Cool. Yeah. When I can't fall asleep, I'll try to count sheep. And when I count sheep, my sheep are on snowboards, and they grind the rail, so they slide down the rail. So I have a sheep comes down, does this trick on the rail, and then the second sheep does this trick on the rail. Yeah, something that probably not a lot of people know about me.
I would say zero people would know that. That could be a good trivia question.
Shared it with anybody. So what I've learned through my Whoop experience, so I keep the Whoop strap, WHOOP, not telling anyone to rush out and get it. It's just been an enlightening experience for me, because I wanted to learn about my sleep and what I'm getting and how recovered I am. It really came from the suffering a myriad of injuries, just nagging injuries over and over again, and learning that I needed to do something else for my body to recover. And I thought sleep might be a big part of that. So I have some rules for myself. If I'm less than 35% recovered, I won't do a workout and these types of things. And I just am learning about the power of restorative sleep. So like I shared earlier in the episode, what I've learned is that I get about an hour and a half, so 90 minutes less sleep than the amount of time that I'm in bed. I've also learned that when I drink water, I have to pee more. Isn't that? My Whoop strap hasn't told me that. This is just this general stuff about sleep.
It's just a fact.
And my issue is not so much that I have to get up and pee. It's my ability to fall, or my inability to fall back asleep after I pee. And then I've also learned about different sleep supplements that are on the market. Seems the ones that seem to have the most credibility are magnesium and melatonin. I recently purchased some magnesium. I'm probably about 2 or 3 weeks into it, and I haven't seen a difference whatsoever. I think I wasted my money. So I can't say that taking magnesium, and I bought the good stuff too from what I read. I don't know.
That's interesting.
I didn't just
Magnesium
buy
makes
the
me
cheapest
tired.
magnesium.
For real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's helped all that much. And I haven't tried melatonin. And people that I know that know me and know that I struggle with sleep say that I should do that. I have a couple of family members that have CPAP machines and they swear by them. So I don't know if I should just go on Facebook Marketplace and get one off the black market or schedule myself for a sleep study like you have.
Yeah, I've never noticed that, but you do sound a little nasally now that I think about it. Maybe you do have like a deviated septum.
Yeah, maybe I do.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, my wife has a CPAP machine because I don't know why I don't know why she just stops breathing sometimes when she sleeps, and it scares the hell out of me. But she won't wear it because she feels like Darth Vader. Like there's hoses and like all this stuff, and she's just like,
well, if you want to send it this way,
yeah, maybe.
Yeah, you send it to Harlan.
Okay.
For those that don't know what we're referring to, I don't even know what it stands for. I guess you could Google it, but CPAP is a machine that basically just gives you, I'm not even going to say I pretend to know what I talk about. It has to do with the amount of oxygen that's being delivered to your body while you're sleeping.
Yeah, I can't remember. I don't know what it's called. Yeah, it's CPAP. I can't think of it.
Continuous positive airway pressure.
There
Continuous
it is.
Positive airway pressure is a form of positive airway pressure ventilation in which a constant level of pressure greater than atmospheric pressure is continuously applied to the upper respiratory tract of a person while they're sleeping.
Wow.
So there you go.
That's a lot of pressure.
It sounds like a lot of pressure, doesn't it?
It does.
But I think it helps people who snore too, from what I understand.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going off the rails on just saying stuff that's completely speculative, but yeah. So anyway, that is everything. That's not everything. That's the top 10 things that I learned about sleep, and I am actually a little tired right now as we speak. So do I sound it?
The top second most. I like that one. That was one of my favorites.
I've been burning the candle at both ends. We went to New York City this weekend, had a good time. It was really cool.
Very nice.
And now I'm back in action, and it's full on yard work season in Vermont. So any spare moment I have, I'm out in the yard getting it done.
Yeah. What's the one you hate the most in the yard? I've heard you talk about the yard work, and if you could offload it, you'd be all about that.
Oh, I'm close. I set up my summer fitness program. People are rolling in with interest. I'm really excited about that.
Oh, nice.
So, yeah. So the money that I make from that's just going to go right to hiring people to do work. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, spring cleanup is, so my driveway, and as with many driveways in Vermont, is not paved. It's gravel. And when the plows come through over and over again all winter long, it pushes the gravel into the grass on either side. So you have to rake the gravel back onto the driveway. And any Vermonters out there who are laughing at me because I don't have a power broom, instead of laughing at me, you can lend me your power broom. Appreciate it.
I don't even know what a power broom is, but now I got to go check it out.
All right, we'll let the people go because we're about to go on a crazy tangent. We could do that after we hit stop recording.
Absolutely. End this thing.
Well, listen, everybody, go get some sleep. Or at least go take a power nap. The research on the power nap is a 20-minute nap is completely restorative. It's amazing if you're able to do it midday. I say do it. Once you go deeper than 20 minutes, you kind of go to that next stage of sleep, and it's really harder to pull out of, and you don't feel as energized when you come out of it. You feel a little sluggish. So keep it. I was married to the power nap in my lifeguarding days. I just get off the stand, crash out for 20 minutes, wake up 20 minutes later, and felt like $1 million.
Huh.
There you go. 20-minute power nap. Get after it. We really appreciate your ears. We thank you for your time, and we're grateful for your attention. With that said, School and Struggle Podcast, we're getting sleepy. We are out.
See ya.